Tonight, a Unit 8 investigation. Cracks in the sidewalk are costing homeowners big money. The city of Portland is demanding hundreds of neighbors make repairs, which got us wondering who's behind the complaints and what's their motive. Money, perhaps? News Channel 8's Kylie Boshi looked into it, and he has the story.
Northeast 19th Avenue has become a real work zone. Look up and down the street, and you'll find construction crews.
You guys fixing all the sidewalks?
They're busy fixing patches of sidewalk, one house after the next.
Is anybody complaining about the sidewalks around here?
Not that I'm aware of, no. They weren't. It didn't seem like they were that bad.
So nobody had a real problem with your sidewalks, as far as you know?
No, they didn't have a problem with our sidewalk.
Turns out the city is demanding hundreds of neighbors make repairs for hazardous sidewalks. Homeowners have 60 days to get it right. Oh, and by the way, contractors are standing by.
Yeah, something's a little fishy. Something's fishy.
So who's behind the complaints? To find out, we filed a public records request with the city of Portland.
Records show most of the complaints in this area of Northeast Portland all came from the same man, Dan Wallace. In fact, he's been complaining about sidewalks all over town. In April, Dan Wallace filed more than 300 complaints with the city about bad sidewalks. That's far more than anyone else.
Any idea who Dan Wallace is?
No idea.
Any idea why he would file more than 300 complaints in April alone?
So that's not a question that we ask. What we look is at is the safety of the sidewalk and whether that condition poses a hazard to the public.
We contacted Dan Wallace by email, but he wouldn't explain who he was. It's not clear if he's a concerned citizen or a contractor looking to cash in by gaming the system and drumming up work, as many neighbors suspect.
It seems fishy. Somebody files more than 300 complaints in 1 month alone.
So our focus is on the condition of the sidewalk and to ensure that the sidewalk is safe for the homeowner and for the people who use it, the public.
Nothing's unusual about that to you folks.
What we're looking at, again, our focus is the sidewalk and whether it is in a safe condition.
Neighbors didn't ask for the sidewalk repairs. Frankly, most don't think they need it. But apparently, Dan Wallace does. And so the city is forcing hundreds of homeowners to pay for sidewalk repairs that one man requested. Kyle Aboshi, KGW, News Channel 8.
Kyle says in the end, we have really no idea who Dan Wallace is. Neighbors didn't know him. The city would not verify if that's his real name. We will continue looking, though. Well, we got a lot of your emails and messages. Viewers pretty upset about a Unit 8 investigation. Last night, we told you hundreds of neighbors are being forced to repair their sidewalks. Problem is, their neighbors aren't complaining. Instead, it's just one man. So today, we took the story to city leaders. News Channel 8's Kylie Boshi is live in Northeast Portland with a follow-up for us tonight. Kyle?
And Joe, this issue is tough to miss. I mean, you got one repair job going here. Just look across the street, you've got another one there, and these repairs aren't cheap. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that homeowners are having to pay out of their own pocket. Basically, because one guy complained, even a city commissioner admits it seems fishy. Back on the job. One day after a Unit 8 investigation, we found construction crews again repairing sidewalks in Northeast Portland.
Very outrageous. Yeah, so many of our neighbors have gotten hit. It's just nuts. So we're glad you're doing this.
The city is forcing hundreds of homeowners to repair their sidewalks, not because of calls from neighbors. Instead, many of these complaints are coming from the same man, Dan Wallace. A Unit 8 investigation found in the month of April alone, Dan Wallace filed more than 300 complaints about hazardous sidewalks. 300 complaints in 1 month.
That led me to believe that probably the contractors might be behind. They're sending someone out to file these complaints.
When contacted by email, Dan Wallace wouldn't explain who he is.
I mean, I personally am just curious to see what the motivation is.
Today, we took our story to the top boss overseeing the Bureau of Transportation.
And I think I had the same reaction everybody else did. And gosh, how can one guy responsible for bugging all of these homeowners? But talking to our folks about it, it's kind of hard to come up with an automatic solution that meets all the other concerns that you'd have.
City Commissioner Steve Novick says inspectors can't ignore the complaints because the city could be sued if someone got hurt. And he doesn't see how you could limit the number of complaints from one person. they can be made anonymously.
I mean, you're right. It seems fishy. It seems unfair. But off the top of my head and talking to my folks, I'm not quite sure what to do about it.
And so we'll continue to look for solutions. We'll also continue looking for this Dan Wallace. We don't know if that's his real name. I tried emailing him again today. No reply.
Tonight, a follow-up to a Unit 8 investigation that had a lot of people talking.
In May, we told you about one man who's filed hundreds of complaints about city sidewalks, costing homeowners thousands of dollars. Well, we finally tracked him down. Here's News Channel 8's Kylie Boshi. Kyle?
Laurel, he goes by Dan Wallace, although admits that's not his real name. Now, since our original report, he has stopped complaining. But that hasn't stopped us from looking into who he is, why he's complaining, and the impact that he's having on neighbors.
The sidewalk repair business isn't slowing down in Northeast Portland's Irvington neighborhood. Crews will be busy for weeks, maybe even months.
You gotta walk in the street because there's cones everywhere.
In May, a Unit 8 investigation found one man is largely to blame. Emails obtained through a public records request show Dan Wallace has filed hundreds of complaints about bad sidewalks. They came in lists, one home after the next.
Were your neighbors ever complaining about your sidewalks?
No.
Between March and May, Dan Wallace complained about 738 sidewalks. On average, the city figures each job costs homeowners roughly $1,600. That would mean one man is responsible for more than $1 million worth of sidewalk repairs.
Do you think that's fair?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, the conclusion that you can immediately come up with, he's trying to drum up business.
After weeks of searching, we finally found someone admitting to be Dan Wallace, although that's not his real name. He wouldn't appear on camera, but in an email he says he isn't profiting from sidewalk repairs. He tries to justify his complaints by saying, "While I've always made sure that the sidewalk in front of my house was safe, it became clear that other residents did not consider sidewalk repairs a priority."
You think he's picking on the neighborhood?
I believe he is, yeah.
How come?
He's got to be. It seems like our neighborhood was the only one that was singled out.
According to the city, one inspector will have to spend 14 to 16 weeks in Northeast Portland just to get through the complaints from Dan Wallace.
But in the end, most of your attention will be in that Irvington neighborhood.
At some point, because we got multiple requests in that one neighborhood, we will be devoting more attention to that neighborhood.
Most of the complaints from Dan Wallace still have not been inspected. There's a backlog, so neighbors in Northeast Portland can expect more sidewalk repairs because one man complained.
Because of our reporting on this and also your complaints, the city of Portland has decided to take a kind of a closer look at the way it takes in complaints about sidewalks. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we're going to take you to Denver. They've got a policy that actually prohibits people like Dan Wallace from submitting hundreds of complaints. Does it work? Is it the solution? We'll see you at 11 o'clock.
Tonight, we have a follow-up to a Unit 8 investigation into sidewalk repairs that cost homeowners thousands of dollars. In May, we told you how one man filed hundreds of complaints. Well, after weeks of searching, we found him. Here's the night team's Kylie Boshi.
In Northeast Portland, there's a patchwork of sidewalk repair, and the work will continue for weeks, maybe months.
Were neighbors complaining about your sidewalks?
No.
Definitely not.
And yet you had to fix them.
Yeah.
In May, a Unit 8 investigation found one man is largely to blame. Emails obtained through a public records request show Dan Wallace has filed hundreds of complaints about bad sidewalks. They came in lists, one home after the next.
Between March and May, Dan Wallace complained about 738 sidewalks. On average, the city figures each job costs homeowners roughly $1,600. That would mean one man is responsible for more than $1 million worth of sidewalk repairs.
Do you think that's fair?
No, not at all. Not at all.
After weeks of searching, we finally found someone admitting to be Dan Wallace, although that's not his real name. He wouldn't appear on camera, but in an email he says he isn't profiting from sidewalk repairs. He tries to justify his complaints by saying, "While I've always made sure that the sidewalk in front of my house was safe, it became clear that other residents did not consider sidewalk repairs a priority.
I just wondered what bee is in his bonnet. I don't know.
Because of our reporting and your complaints, the City of Portland is taking a closer look at sidewalk complaints.
Well, we'll be looking at addressing if other cities get multiple reports from one person or from a few people, how do they address it?
For example, in Denver, the city allows only one complaint per person per year.
They have to give us the location of the damaged sidewalk, and they have to give us their name, address, and phone number.
They won't accept lists or multiple addresses. And if you want to remain anonymous, you contact a city councilor.
We found that it has been effective.
According to the City of Portland, one inspector will have to spend 14 to 16 weeks in Northeast Portland just to get through the complaints from Dan Wallace. He's created a backlog and an unwanted repair bill for many neighbors. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News Channel 8.
Most of the complaints from Dan Wallace still haven't been inspected, so many neighbors can expect more sidewalk repairs. If you'd like to learn more about the story, we've created a page on our website, that of course KGW.com. And if you have a story for Unit 8 to investigate, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at unit8@kgw.com, or you can call us at 503-226-5041.